Yeah, I'm really excited about this campaign that we've got going on. We've got the potential to vote in the first black woman president of the United States, Ms. Kamala Harris. And I make no bones about the fact that I am pro-black, pro-woman, all day, every day. And this sister is truly about us. She went to Howard University. She's part of the Divine Nine. If those of you who are black, you understand what it means to be part of the Divine Nine.
So I'm really excited to know what you're up to, like what's coming up like right now.
A lot of people talk, but I like to act. And so what we are doing is we are creating a campaign. I had the honor and the privilege of speaking to our acting secretary of HUD, Adrienne Todman, who's another fierce black woman. And the Biden-Harris administration is doing amazing work to ensure that there's home ownership, especially in the black and brown communities. And so this tour is really about home ownership, housing for all, and making sure that Kamala is our next president. So Kamala for 47.
Hey everyone, it's Christine San Angelo's Olivo, number 35 on your ballot. Today I am right here at the Cats. We are promoting an event that is happening Wednesday from 12 to 3. Shout out to Quamara and I Am Black Woman Yes for putting this together about housing. I am an advocate for home ownership. The days of renting should be over. We need home ownership right here in our community. And we're going to talk about opportunities, how you can get into your first home. What are the programs that Miami Dade County has right now that can help you and your family get a property of your own? So join us Wednesday from 12 to 3 right here at the Cats. See you Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this campaign that we've got going on. We've got the potential to vote in the first black woman president of the United States, Ms. Kamala Harris. And I make no bones about the fact that I am pro-black, pro-woman, all day, every day. And this sister is truly about us. She went to Howard University. She's part of the Divine Nine. If those of you who are black, you understand what it means to be part of the Divine Nine.
So I'm really excited to know what you're up to, like what's coming up like right now.
A lot of people talk, but I like to act. And so what we are doing is we are creating a campaign. I had the honor and the privilege of speaking to our acting secretary of HUD, Adrienne Todman, who's another fierce black woman. And the Biden-Harris administration is doing amazing work to ensure that there's home ownership, especially in the black and brown communities. And so this tour is really about home ownership, housing for all, and making sure that Kamala is our next president. So Kamala for 47.
Hey everyone, it's Christine San Angelo's Olivo, number 35 on your ballot. Today I am right here at the Cats. We are promoting an event that is happening Wednesday from 12 to 3. Shout out to Quamara and I Am Black Woman Yes for putting this together about housing. I am an advocate for home ownership. The days of renting should be over. We need home ownership right here in our community. And we're going to talk about opportunities, how you can get into your first home. What are the programs that Miami Dade County has right now that can help you and your family get a property of your own? So join us Wednesday from 12 to 3 right here at the Cats. See you Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this campaign that we've got going on. We've got the potential to vote in the first black woman president of the United States, Ms. Kamala Harris. And I make no bones about the fact that I am pro-black, pro-woman, all day, every day. And this sister is truly about us. She went to Howard University. She's part of the Divine Nine. If those of you who are black, you understand what it means to be part of the Divine Nine.
So I'm really excited to know what you're up to, like what's coming up like right now.
A lot of people talk, but I like to act. And so what we are doing is we are creating a campaign. I had the honor and the privilege of speaking to our acting secretary of HUD, Adrienne Todman, who's another fierce black woman. And the Biden-Harris administration is doing amazing work to ensure that there's home ownership, especially in the black and brown communities. And so this tour is really about home ownership, housing for all, and making sure that Kamala is our next president. So Kamala for 47.
Hey everyone, it's Christine San Angelo's Olivo, number 35 on your ballot. Today I am right here at the Cats. We are promoting an event that is happening Wednesday from 12 to 3. Shout out to Kwamara and I Am Black Woman Yes for putting this together about housing. I am an advocate for home ownership. The days of renting should be over. We need home ownership right here in our community, and we're going to talk about opportunities, how you can get into your first home, what are the programs that Miami Dade County has right now that can help you and your family get a property of your own. So join us Wednesday from 12 to 3 right here at the Cats. See you Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this campaign that we've got going on. We've got the potential to vote in the first Black woman president of the United States, Miss Kamala Harris. And I make no bones about the fact that I am pro-Black, pro-woman, all day, every day. And this sister is truly about us. She went to Howard University. She's part of the Divine Nine. If those of you who are Black, you understand what it means to be part of the Divine Nine.
So I'm really excited to know what you're up to, like what's coming up like right now.
A lot of people talk, but I like to act. And so what we are doing is we are creating a campaign. I have the honor and the privilege of speaking to our acting secretary of HUD, Adrienne Todman, who's another fierce Black woman. And the Biden-Harris administration is doing amazing work to ensure that there's home ownership, especially in the Black and brown communities. And so this tour is really about home ownership, housing for all, and making sure that Kamala is our next president. So Kamala for 47.
Hey everyone, it's Christine San Angelo's Olivo, number 35 on your ballot. Today I am right here at the Cats. We are promoting an event that is happening Wednesday from 12 to 3. Shout out to Kwamara and I Am Black Woman Yes for putting this together about housing. I am an advocate for home ownership. The days of renting should be over. We need home ownership right here in our community, and we're going to talk about opportunities, how you can get into your first home, what are the programs that Miami Dade County has right now that can help you and your family get a property of your own. So join us Wednesday from 12 to 3 right here at the Cats. See you Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Go ahead and sit down. Boom. Just want to make sure we're good to go. Okay. Hopefully everyone can hear and see us. Welcome to our Housing for All campaign. Really am appreciating you all being here. Listen, we're having some, okay, there we go. Boom, boom, boom. Perfect. We're getting our situation started here. I'll tell you, when we're thinking about the Housing for All campaign, I wasn't necessarily thinking about us doing live or virtual, but everyone was so excited and they were like, I'm not there in North Miami. I can't get out of work. I only get an hour for my lunch break. And so I said, okay, I will figure out a way for us to stream what is going on. And so that is what we're doing. Thank you so much for your patience here. As we're talking, as I mentioned in the intro video, I'm really, really excited about this because home ownership, as we know, is the absolute number one key to wealth building, to closing the generational and racial wealth gaps, especially here in the United States. And the Biden-Harris administration has done amazing work to ensure that there are initiatives, that there's funding, that there's resources for us to buy our first homes. So today we're going to talk about high level, how you can buy your home from the federal government, and then, or through some of the federal funding, and then we're going to localize it for those of us here in Miami-Dade County. So I'm Kamara Thompson, by the way, the brainchild of Housing for All campaign, Kamala for 47. But the other thing that's really important to us is making sure that you guys vote locally in your local elections. It is so important. Everyone gets galvanized during the national election, and I'm down for it. I love all the energy that I'm seeing, but we need all of this energy all year round for what's going on in your community. Yes. Know who's on your school board, know who's in your council, know who's representing you on the state board. So speaking of your state Congress and your state reps, we've got Miss Christine Olivo.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited about this because, and we'll get into everything later, but I, as a senior in high school, my grandfather passed away and my grandmother sold our house for $90,000 in El Portal. If you know anything about, she said, wow. If you know anything about Miami, okay, El Portal is like a little village right off of Miami Shores. Right now, that house is in the millions. So I'm so passionate about home ownership and passing the wealth down generationally. So we'll get into that later, but I'll pass it over to our amazing realtor.
Hi, my name is Julia. I'm with One Sotheby's International Realty. I've been in real estate for the last 10 years, and I help homeowners attain their first home and build their generational wealth.
Awesome. And we're going to have one more person come on. It's going to be a surprise, obviously, but it's my mom. And she's been doing loans for over 30 years. I feel like I've helped her process all of my friends' loans. Sure. She did mine. So she's going to give us some nuggets, and she'll be on a little later.
Okay, so I do want to talk a little bit, and excuse me, guys, I forgot to take off the banner. So we've already started, not that we will be starting shortly. So I'll take that off in a second when I finish speaking. But I do want to just talk about some of the initiatives. So we just heard Christine talk a little bit about her grandmother sold the house at $90,000. It's worth $1 million some now, which is great. That is building generational wealth. But with that, and when we know when it comes with gentrification, with that can come taxes. So maybe you can't afford those taxes. Maybe you can't afford the increase in your property value. What you can do is actually go to HUD.gov, and then go down to Florida, whatever state you're a part of, and find your county and say, what kind of help can I get to ensure that I get to keep my property? So after I had that conversation with our acting secretary, Adrian Totman, 3 weeks ago, I think sometimes the universe aligns. So let me just tell you guys 2 stories that I know personally where the Biden administration, their initiatives have actually helped people keep their homes. So in the first one, I had a friend say to me while I was just talking about what I had just done, and really feeling super hyped and excited about all the work that the Biden-Harris administration had been doing. And this person said to me, man, you haven't seen me in a while. I haven't been able to talk to you in a while because I have been stressed out. My mother is going through a foreclosure process on the house that I grew up in. And this is down in South Florida. And this is a Black family who was in the process of potentially losing a home that had been in their family for a couple of generations. So I said, do you know that the Biden-Harris administration has legal services available to you to stop the foreclosure process, for you to think about ways they will come up with money to help you keep your house. We went onto the website, we saw they got some legal representation, and they're now in the process of reversing some of the ways that the foreclosure was happening. Wow. Yes, let's give it up, because that was just one person, but there are so many stories like that across the United States where people are being foreclosed on because of the taxes. Here in Florida, we know that our HOA fees are another one that is.
My God.
Woo, I know that's listen, those HOA fees and the ways that our HOAs are managed in this state is really horrendous. And so that's why it's important to have a politician, someone in the community who is here to fight on your behalf to ensure that once you get that property absolutely stays with you, stays in your family as a legacy. Christine, can you talk to us a little bit more about your housing platform, the things that you've been doing out in the community?
Yes. So
Right now, the state of Florida passed a law called the Live Local Act, right? And the Live Local Act, basically, it gives all developers this clear path to build whatever they want. It streamlines the zoning process. You don't have to do half the things that most developers would have to do. They don't have to do that here in Florida anymore, right? So all the zoning laws just basically don't apply like they used to. And what that did was that brought a bunch of developers outside of Florida into Florida to then build all of these apartment buildings. What is my issue with that? A few things. If we're going to do something for developers, number one, they should be developers from Florida. They should be developers, minority developers. We should be making sure that our people get those contracts first, number one. Number two, I understand that we need more housing. That's why they push this along and they need to build more housing, but renting is temporary. At any point, somebody can decide whether or not you deserve to live here. They can say, oh, you know what? Your credit's not good enough. You can't get the place. Oh, you don't make enough. You can't get the place. This is our home. No one should be able to come here and tell us, build on our land, and then tell us that we can't live here because we don't meet certain requirements. Housing is a human right, and we should own. So my philosophy, or where I want to go with my campaign, is that in order for us to be able to sustain our community, we have to own our community. I believe in home ownership. I believe in putting programs in place, just like when Obama did back in 2008. He gave $10,000 for you to get a down payment on your house. It was just $10,000. Families got it. My best friend, she used that $10,000 to get her first home with her husband, and Biden said that he was going to bring that back. I know that now that Kamala Harris is running, she will adopt that same mentality. We need people to have more funds to get into their home. So those are the programs that I want to fight for. Down payment assistance, whatever we can do to make sure that you can get into your home. Right now, people don't have, if I told you right now, hey, give me $15,000 for you to get a house. Do you have $15,000 just sitting in your, some people barely have $15. So we need to make sure that we have programs in place so that people can get into their home. So that's one of the things I'm really big on home ownership. The act is called the Live Local Act. That's what was passed. I want to pass the Own Local Act. I don't just want to live here. I want to own it. Okay,
let's own our community.
Own it.
I love that. And so, I just want to say about 2 points that you made. The $15,000 point. And everyone's like, man, I don't have enough money for a down payment. Well, baby, do you have enough money to get into a rental apartment? I've been hearing nowadays you need to have 3-6 months saved up. You need to show that you're making 3 times the amount of the rent. So it ends up. So why spend that money on a rent, something you don't own, into something that you can absolutely own? When we're talking about getting governmental assistance, so I tell people this story all the time. My first house I bought in the city of Newark, New Jersey, almost 20 years ago now, roughly about 20 years ago. And at the time, I believe Newark still has this program, which again came from government funding. If you were a teacher, a firefighter, a police person, you could get down payment assistance if you were going to buy in the community in which you worked in. And so that's what I did. I bought my first home in Newark, New Jersey, and I got my down payment assistance. So I didn't have to put down a down payment at all. Then I went and got an FHA mortgage. So I'm going to ask you about how we go through FHA. But FHA is basically a government backed mortgage loan that allows you to put less down in your down payment versus what some traditional banks or some other lending opportunities have. Because I did that 20 plus years ago, and I took advantage of the government assistance. And y'all, those of you all who look like me, think about it like reparations. Go to your government and get that money, okay? Yes. And use it to your advantage. But because of that, I was then able to take equity out of that home and start purchasing other homes. I purchased another multifamily in Maplewood, which I sold during COVID. I did a little flip there. And then I have a couple of properties down here in Miami. But the only way I was able to do that first step, because I was working as a teacher, so we all know teachers do not get paid. I went and I used that government assistance. I want you to be the Kumaras of your community.
Yes.
Okay? I want you to use that government assistance. Get that foot in the door. Get your reparations, baby.
Yeah.
Okay? And let's go ahead and own your community. So I mentioned about having an FHA loan, and I know that Christine's mom's going to talk us more about the FHA loan, but let's talk about the first-time home buyer process with Julia.
Well, for first-time home buyers, there's been a program called Hometown Heroes,
Yes.
which has, it started off with helping, nurses and doctors and teachers. Now it's expanded. If you're a personal trainer, you qualify for this loan program. So there's always a loan program available from the government. So anytime you're ready to buy, you should look into any type of program that's available to help you out.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's say I'm ready to buy, or maybe I'm not ready to buy. Maybe I just want to think that I'm ready to buy, right? And I just call you and I say, okay, Julia, like what can I do? What is the first step if someone that's just interested in switching from renting to home?
Well, typically I connect them with a lender so that they can evaluate their income, their credit score, and all of that. So those are things that you need to be mindful of. You need to be financially prepared. You do need to have a little bit of pocket change in order to make these transactions happen, but for the most part, you can get government assistance. Apart from that, check your credit, pay down your credit cards, make sure that you pay them on time. If you don't pay them on time, that's not going to look good on your credit side, and your credit is based off your interest rate. So if your credit's no good, you're going to get a high interest rate. So in order to get a lower interest rate, your credit history needs to be in great standing. So that's something to be mindful of as you're preparing to purchase a home. The second thing is make sure you get your taxes done. I hear a lot of times, I haven't done my taxes from 2 years ago. Well, if you want to buy a home or you're planning to buy a home, typically you'll need to show 2 years worth of tax return to the lender. Now, there are loan programs where you can show your bank statements, but you typically have to pay higher interest rates, and that's a different program. So there's a different program for wherever you are at in your life at the moment. But if you want to start working on it, save a little bit of money, pay down debt, make sure you have a good standing job for at least 2 years, and you're pretty much golden after that.
Now, what about, all the housing prices right now?
Whew. Well,
okay. Let's unpack that.
Well, working remotely has become the norm, and COVID definitely has skyrocketed the prices for South Florida because we've been discovered now, and everybody knows our beautiful paradise and is continuously moving down here. That's why it's important to look in your neighborhood or look for neighborhoods outside of where everybody kind of wants to cram in and be in. That's where the highest price points are going to be at. But, be a little open. The house doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be like, this is the one, because 9 times out of 10, this is just your first house. Again, remember, we're building generational wealth. So this is your first house. You can, in 2 or 3 years down the line, as you work, with home ownership and improving your credit and income, you can buy another house down the line.
So a perspective that I took, and I'm not saying that's the best perspective, but the way I've been looking at it is this. Yes, the houses are like in the 500s and base
with needing to do work to it.
But then you think about it, yes, you'll be paying a little more every month than you would renting, but now you have an asset worth $500,000.
Exactly.
I mean, you have to think about it. A few days before you close, you were not worth that. Just after signing those papers, now you're worth $500,000. Like, let's go. Now we're bringing up the wealth. So yes, it's a small sacrifice right now because you've got to pay dish more monthly. But in the long run, you're going to be able to give your child a property that is worth way more than when you bought it. So.
And just like how Kumara did, she bought a property and then she built equity and bought another property. Yeah. That's how you build generational wealth.
Equity is so important.
Yeah, yes. Equity is like gold for you. So by buying a house, you're giving yourself that chance to build that equity, as opposed to if you were renting, you're not building anything. You're just paying.
You're just paying
You're just
someone
paying.
else's. I mean, in all fairness, you're probably paying someone else's mortgage.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
Over
Yeah.
and over and over. They've already
Over and
paid that.
over
It's paid
again.
off.
You know, and as someone who obviously I just said I own multiple properties, obviously I am a landlord. I mean, part of that is that's facts, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you're now in a position to be a boss, to have passive income. And let me tell you, I mean, that has come in handy sometimes when I've had, you know, I'm an entrepreneur, so I have high months, I have low months, but I know that I can always count on my rental income to come through and tide me over. So not only do I have equity in the properties, not only do those properties amount to my net worth, and I tell people all the time, if I drop dead today, not hopefully that never happens today at least, but if I did drop dead today, my heirs are already millionaires, period, because of the assets that they're going to be able to have in their possession, moving things into a trust for them. But as of now, they could just get it free and clear, and that's an amazing feeling to say, like, you know what, I might not be very liquid, but I'm setting things up for the next generation, and the next generation is going to be okay. And yeah, I might be struggling, and some of us might be struggling to pay rent, and some of us might be struggling to pay our mortgage. But if you're struggling to pay your mortgage, you own something.
Yes.
If you're struggling to pay rent, you may be out on the street
Oh, yeah.
the next day.
So we have a serious eviction crisis since COVID. I believe between Miami-Dade and Broward County, 19,000 people were evicted.
Wow.
That's someone else making a decision on where you can live.
Yeah,
I mean, we just put people out on the streets.
that's crazy.
And I know that a lot of these places are luxury apartments and they're great. They have all these amenities and they have saunas and they have all these great things, but there's nothing that can compare to owning your own.
Right.
You can go to somebody else's sauna, you know, but you need to focus on building your own and having your own. Can you do me a favor and talk also about the rental property market? I mean, both of you. Do you have people that maybe come to you to buy rental properties, and what's that process like?
Yeah, so I have renters that I help rent
Oh.
and transition into home ownership. I have renters that don't want to buy, even though they have a lot of money in the bank. They have this poor mentality where, like, well, I don't want to put it into something. And it's like, but it's kind of like your own safe stock market.
Yeah.
You're going to build more money from that
Wow.
investment. So, you know, it's all about the mindset and educating people and having the conversations, because I think that's a huge part. A lot of people are disconnected in that way. They're like, oh, I don't want to be locked down. And it's like, you're not locked down. You can rent it out in the future and have a consistent paycheck just like you do. And I think there's just kind of like a disconnect with information and kind of like breaking free from that mentality.
Are there any new trends right now in real estate?
Well, I will say that the luxury market is leading in South Florida right now. So everything that you see that's being built, it's all luxury.
It's all luxury.
We have an affordable housing crisis
Mm.
in South Florida right now. So, you know, now is the time to get in, because I don't know why people think 2008 is going to happen again, where the market's going to crash. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it's not happening. If you're in real estate and you read what's happening, all the transformation that's happening within each municipality, downtown is getting a whole revamp. Brickell continues to grow. North Miami continues to grow.
Yeah.
Like, every municipality is growing. Now is the time. And people think that the interest rates are high. They're actually not that high.
They're really not.
They're not. They were before COVID. They're like around 5, 6, and right now they're like at 7, 8, which is not bad at all.
Yeah.
Historically, it's gone, you know, up to 18, 19, 20%. So it's actually not that high. What's gonna get high is the prices,
Yeah.
and those prices are not going to drop.
And just the thing about the interest rate, and I think this is something that people forget, that you can actually refinance your house. You are not, even though you've signed on for a 30-year mortgage or however long the mortgage is, it literally does not mean that those are your terms for the next 30 years. You can decide in 5 years, hey, you know what? I've done a really great job of building up my credit. My credit score has gotten up, and I want to refinance and refinance to a lower rate. People do that all the time. I do suggest, and maybe Julia, you can talk about this, but I do suggest getting a fixed rate mortgage versus one that fluctuates, because you might find yourself in situations where you go in low and then all of a sudden it has ballooned high. And that's oftentimes where you find a lot of people going into foreclosure, short sale, because you usually, if you're anything like me, you budget and you need to have your consistency, right? So a fixed rate mortgage is something that's super helpful. But again, in 3, 4, 5 years, you can go ahead and flip that property. If you use an FHA loan, which is backed by the federal government, that needs to be your primary home for about 3 or 4 years. And then you can go ahead and rent it out, start thinking about investment properties. And obviously when you go to the investment side, there's different types of financing, different ways that you have to put down your down payment, etc. I just recently found out, having talked about, because now that I'm so passionate about it, I'm talking about it all the time. Someone told me that here in Florida, you can actually start buying rental income rental property by going to the government and literally saying that you guarantee or you will sign on with Section 8, so affordable housing for renters, for a number of time. I think the term is at least 18 months, and they will upfront you the money to go ahead and purchase that property because you are now part of the solution for making sure that your community is being housed. So something else to look at after you go through your first home buyer process. And now let's say you're in the investment side of things and you're like, man, I don't have the down payment yet, because when you do investment, it's usually 20-25% that you have to put down. You can actually go to the municipalities of Miami Dade County and talk to them about their Section 8 program, and they will give you opportunity to buy a small multifamily or a small building, 4 or 5 units or whatever, in order for you to purchase that investment home.
And so, sorry, no.
It's okay. I want to add that sometimes with Section 8, there's a stigma that they may be destroying the property, and that's typically not the case. I mean, obviously, if they are destroying the property, you can fine them, keep deposits, and have them move out at the end of their term, but that's usually not the case. Yes. People need a place to live, that's all.
It's very good. There's 2 things about Section 8 that I love. Number one, did you know that you can also use your Section 8 funds? If you're approved for Section 8, you can also use your Section 8 funds to purchase a home towards your mortgage. And also in Miami, the Section 8 vouchers run out because we don't have enough. So if you're interested, I love that. We should look into investing into more homes for Section 8, because if right now there's people on a waiting list. And what are they waiting for? They're waiting for more people to buy and then rent out to Section 8. So I think that's a great investment. Absolutely.
Yeah, Section 8 is guaranteed income. So regardless, exactly. the government will pay.
Right. It's never going to be late. You're not going to have to be asking for it. No, it's going to be deposited.
It's going to be deposited right into your account.
Yes. So I'm going to segue because my mother has arrived. The queen. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I know we're at a Haitian restaurant. I know that we're Haitian. My mother ran on Haitian time. Come on, lady.
Listen, we just call it Miami time at this point in time.
I know, right?
Everybody's on Miami time now.
So I'll give an introduction. So my mother, Shirley Antoine, she has been doing loans. I mean, I feel like since I was born, but I would say safely, 30 years, 25 years? Okay, well, I mean, she's 30 years old. She's been doing it since she was born.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I?
This one. So there's a lot of programs for those that do not have any money to put down. And today, I'm going to have my mom talk to you about some things that you need to know in order for you to get into a home. And just to let you know, it is possible. All right, so Shirley Antoine, come on down. Sorry, take my seat. Oh my God, I'm gonna be on camera.
Yes. On the camera.
Let's camera
Miss
action.
Antoine, you got
it. Okay, so basically, I'm a loan processor. I have been doing this for a very, very long time, and I come across people that want to purchase, but they don't have enough money, or they don't know how to go about doing it, or what have you. So we have a lot of programs that consist of down payment assistance, which a lot of people are looking for, but there are certain restrictions when you are trying to get down payment assistance, okay? So right now, we have a program that is a no money down program. And what it does is it gives you it pays 3% of your down payment up to $15,000. Okay. So the parameters for that is your credit score have to be at a 620, which is doable. Yeah,
It's very doable.
It's very doable. And so basically that's all it is. You just, the normal things, you have to be employed for the past 2 years. And if you're self-employed, it has to be 2 years. And that's basically the parameters, and you have to live in the house, forever, really. So if you refinance, you have to pay the money back. Okay, which is a lot of down payment assistance. That's what they do. But some of them, like, you have to live there 5 years and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. But this one, you have to be in the house, or you refi, you have to pay back. You purchase it, you sell it, you have to pay it back.
So, Miss Antoine, let's talk about that, because I don't want people to think that you have to come up with the money. It's usually rolled into.
No, it's a set. I'm getting.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
so you want to get there?
I'm
Okay,
getting there. No, yeah,
okay,
that's
perfect.
So they do a second. They
Okay.
give you a second, but it's not payable.
Okay.
So basically, they're gonna there's a lien on there,
There'll be
but
a
you don't
second
have to pay.
A second position lien.
Second position,
Gotcha.
yeah, you
Okay.
do not have to pay. And like I said, the only way that they'll want pay on demand is if you refinance or if you sell your property.
Okay.
If you do that, then you'll have to pay it back.
So that only covers down payment. You still have to come up with closing costs.
Yeah, you have to come up with closing costs, but that's half the battle. Because if you have the down payment, a lot of people can't even come up with the down payment.
Yeah.
So up to 15%, up to 15,000. So that means you could buy a house a max of 500,000.
Come on, let's get that house.
Let's do it.
Oh, and I have better news. My partner gave me, because the lender, I spoke to her before I came. I said, "Girl, I need you to help me. Like, give me some pointers, And so she said that as far as the interest rate, you could buy it down, right? It's a program called 321.
Mm-hmm.
So you could buy it down, and it's going to be included in the pricing. So that means instead of a 6%, it could be 3%.
I'm gonna go get a house.
I know.
Yeah.
You get a house. You
You
get a house.
get it. So everybody who was worried about their
Everybody.
interest rates,
Everybody.
you can purchase your
Yes.
interest rates down up
And
through
then they
3%.
make it so easy for you because they built it in the rate, so you don't feel it, And if you want to pay for it ahead, you can do that too. Because she said you could also use your, if you have seller contribution, you could just pay it outright. But she's like, why do that when if you can afford the payment, just let it sit there,
Yeah.
and then you pay it throughout the years. And you won't feel it. And then, the interest rate will come back to where you were qualified at. But in 3 years, you never know. The rates may be lower.
Right, exactly.
But for now, you get a break.
So how much would you have to make a year in order to get approved for a house that's like $500,000? What are we looking at?
Well, so this is what happens. So it's not like I can't just pop up and tell you. It's based on debt.
Yeah.
So everybody have debts, right? So some people, they look at the liabilities. That's how you get approved. They look at your liabilities. If you have a lot of debt, then it's going to be tight. If you don't have as much debt, then you're good. So what we do is we look at your credit and we tell you, hey, if you pay this down, you're going to get more. So I play around with the figures. And it is possible, if you're willing to work with the loan officer, it is possible for you to do it. But you have to, because some people get frustrated that, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to show that? I said, because you're trying to borrow like $300,000-$400,000.
Right.
So if you're trying to borrow that money, we want to know your blood type. We want to know where to find you.
Yes.
So I tell them that because they do get frustrated.
Yeah, it does get annoying. And
It does.
even when you're under contract, you're asking
Yes.
even more paperwork,
Yes.
and you're like, even more.
And I tell them, so when I collect things, I tell them, I said, this is what I'm going to need from you. Because I do an email. I tell you your last 2 pay stubs, last 2 months bank statements, 22, 23, 24, 22, 23 tax returns, W-2s, and I need your ID, clear, legible. Don't send me something blurry. I really have to be specific about that because I get these blurry IDs okay. And so you have to ask for ID, social security card, and then that's it. That's what I need to begin. If you get me this, then I can work with it,
I love the point that you make, and I think you missed this part, that I also dibble and dabble in real estate. So I guess you could say I'm a real estate investor.
Yeah.
And so having a great relationship with a loan, with your loan person
Yes.
is so
Paramount.
Right.
paramount. You guys are a team working together for
Yeah.
you to continue to build your
Yes.
generational wealth. And they're here for your best interest, and also somewhat selfishly for them too, because if they can close the deal,
Right.
that's how they make
Yeah,
money,
that's it,
right?
yeah,
So
exactly.
so they want you to actually receive the loan. There's nobody,
Yeah.
there's someone who's in the mortgage business who's like,
To get you
Not
denied.
trying.
oh, no, they're not trying to get you no money.
Get you denied.
We are definitely trying
That's
to
a good
get
point.
you
Yeah,
money
money.
in order for you to purchase this home, purchase this
Exactly.
property. Everyone who's in the real estate market understands how important it is to have home
extremely.
ownership, right?
Mhm. It's
So
extremely important.
having those relationships, and can you talk about like some of maybe your long, I'm sure you have, if you've been in the business 30 years, you probably have 30-year relationships with clients,
Yes.
et cetera.
Yeah, it is important because it is the biggest investment in your life.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, you're buying a house, you're spending $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. That is a big investment. And yes, and they are frustrated because they don't understand, but you have to explain it to them. And if you take the time, some loan officers do not explain. They do not explain. And I had like, when the crash came, I don't know, I mean, I'm aging myself, but when the 2008 crash came, it was horrible because I saw, especially our Haitian customers, they were getting into loans. They didn't even know. Like, they didn't even explain those arms. Remember those
Yes,
arms?
I told you don't do.
Adjustable rate?
I was like, do not do an
Oh
arm.
my
Please don't do
God.
one.
They were like, they're like, how come my payment was 200 and next thing you know it's 900?
Okay, you heard me say that earlier today
The
about
loan
having a
officer-
fixed rate mortgage.
Yes,
Okay,
They
don't
did
let
not
anyone
explain.
tell you any
They
different.
didn't
I mean,
Explain it to
the
them.
realtor should have told them as
No,
well.
because-
That's why you need a good realtor.
Back then, there
Facts.
was no.
Facts.
Back then, nobody cared. They just wanted to. Basically, they had them sign. They didn't even realize they were getting armed. Wow. And they didn't even explain to them that after 5 years, the it's gonna balloon to a huge payment.
But do they still do that?
They have arms,
They
but
still
it's
have
not
arms.
the same. It's not like, before and stuff like that. People are knowledgeable now. And people are still doing arms. They're like, okay, I'll do it because they understand it. It's like, okay, I'll refinance. You could refinance
beforehand.
And, yeah, before
But you
it
have to
balloons.
remember to do that.
You do.
So if you're one of those people who's like, I'm gonna do this free subscription, and then a year later you actually get paid for it. The arm is not for you.
Trust me, I'm still trying to cancel.
I'm like, you don't want to do that.
You just reminded me to cancel.
But this reminds me what you were just talking about is education, which is the reason why we're going
Yeah.
on this tour.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that people are educated around how do you purchase your first property, not only how you can use the federal government, use funding, go get a no down payment loan or a low down payment loan or however else, or maybe even get help with your closing costs. How you can go and use the initiatives in the Biden-Harris administration, but also knowing what are the initiatives locally in the municipalities that you live in. Go talk to your local politicians. Go ensure that you know what's going on. Every state and municipality has a HUD department. HUD is not just for people who need Section 8. HUD is not just for people who need temporary rental assistance. HUD is for anyone who wants to own a home, who needs to have a safe place to live for themselves and their family. There are legal services available. There is funding. There are grants. There's so many initiatives available to help you acquire your first property. Because once you acquire your first property, once you start building that equity in your first property, the sky is kind of the limit as to what you can do from that point forward. All right, I think we're gonna kind of like wrap up, and I'll see if there's any last words from Julia, Ms. Antoine, and then Christine. Want to make sure to talk a little bit about how we make sure you become our Florida State representative for District 107.
Just to close it off, I think it's important to always get involved with the community and learn who is basically representing you. I think there's a lot of disconnect with that as well. So, come out to events, get to know these people, read about them, take that time, because, when you're like complaining about something, but you didn't take action on it, well, then you can't complain because you weren't involved in the process. So those other people made sure that person got voted in. So you really have to everybody has to do their part in order to get involved. And apart from that, if you need any real estate guidance, I'm here to help. I love to help. I'm not one of those realtors that's just writing a contract
Yeah.
and sending you off.
Yeah.
I have my clients for a lifetime. You're not just a transaction to me. You're becoming my family. You're basically signing a contract to me.
Where can people find you, Julia?
People can find me everywhere. If you just Google my name, Julia Poliadis, Poliadis. I'm from Greece, so you know a little bit difficult of a last name, but you can look me up, and I actually answer my phone. I respond to text messages, and that's like one basic thing that a lot of realtors don't do. So give me a call. I would love to help.
Me. Okay. What's our takeaways? Takeaways. Okay, so getting someone involved, and once you find out that you're interested in purchasing, do your research, and it's always good to find someone that can help you. Like I try to reach out to family members, friends, or what have you. But if you know somebody that can help you, it's always good to reach out to them to see where you're at. And like, I'm gonna leave my information. Like, I like to help people. Like when I get a client, I go from the beginning to the end. Like I'll look at your credit, because I can help with credit as well. I can help you get to where you need to be in order to get approved for a loan. So I am and then my phone is like always available. I don't work 9 to 5. I work from home. But
Always on the computer.
Always on the computer in the morning. I'm available. Like I really want home ownership is so important. I tell my kids, my family, my youngest daughter, she gets nervous, like, oh, I don't think I could buy it. I'm like, yes, you can.
Yes,
I want that home ownership. It's so important. And a lot of times, we as African Americans, and we miss that sometimes, and I want us to start thinking of investing, not renting. Yes. We need to get that out of our mind. Invest, not renting.
You see where I get it from? You see where it's like.
And Miss Antoine, how can people get in touch with you?
Through Christine.
Okay, through Christine. There we go.
I gotta get mom to the game.
I don't do all those things, but because I have word of mouth kind of like, and I have like people that know me that know me.
Gotcha.
So get Christine.
I'll get you to mom.
Thank you.
And honestly, aside from me, I just want everyone to understand that we have 2 candidates in November. Okay, 2 candidates. And the distinct difference is that one candidate made sure that Black people could not live in a building or in their buildings in New York, and one candidate that's going to fight to make sure that we can all own a home. It doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter what religion you are, that everybody can own a home. Yes. Okay? So on November 5th, when we vote, Kamala Harris has to be our president.
Kamala for 47.
That's it.
That's it.
Madam President.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm claiming it.
We are claiming it.
Yes, and I would love to join that celebration as your state rep. What an honor it would be to be elected the same year that we have our first Black female president. Woo, come on now.
Come on now.
Let's make history, because you know that with me, you're gonna get someone that's gonna fight for you to own your own. My opponent, and I actually talk to my opponents all the time. I say, hi, how you doing? I'm very friendly. But one distinct difference is that my opponent supports rental houses, and I support ownership. There is a distinct difference. I want to bridge that wealth gap, and the only way we could do that is electing people in office that are going to fight for it. So thank you. You can find me at Christine Forafel or ChristineForafel.com. You can find me on your ballot, number 35. I'm around.
As Christine said, you want to own your community.
Yes.
That's going to be our slogan.
Own your community.
Okay, I love it. So if you have not already registered to vote, Florida, this is in particular for you. Make sure that you register to vote by October 7th so you can vote in the main election. We have our elections going on right now in Miami Dade County from August 5th to August 18th. It's early voting, and then you go to the polls on August 20th to vote your local officials in. So keep those dates in mind. As I mentioned, if you want to know anything more about these programs, please go to HUD.gov. Anything you need to know about voting, go to vote.gov. And then in the chat, in the comments, I will put how you can join the movement with us. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you, ladies. I love it. Powerhouse ladies over here.
All women.
All women. Woo! When women lead. Okay, thank you all. Housing for All campaign. Peace.
Oh,